evening, viewers. Martin Smith's my name. Welcome back to the PI show. I'm standing in tonight for Harry Nowicki, who's having a well-earned break. Our topic tonight is going to be the role of a barrister. But before we get on to that topic, I'd like to introduce you to Tony Cabone. He's well known to you. And I'd like to ask Tony, any hot topics this week, Tony?
Good evening, viewers. Yeah, the hot topic this week, Marty, is about all the knifings and stabbings we've had in our bars and clubs and things like that. And I think if you have a look at the Herald Sun, they've had about 10 cases of different people who have been stabbed and knifed.
Yep.
And I think the issue is how can you better improve to prevent these things from happening? And I think one of the things we should be looking at is getting rid of glass, try and eliminate knives from the bars and clubs. And one of the things I was thinking was pretty important was preventative measures.
Yes.
What do you think could be done?
Well, it's licensed premises, and I think I'm correct in saying this. They are required to have security people at the doors. They're required to have security people inside. Obviously, depending on the size of the venue and the number of people that go to those places will depend on the number of security officers. What you've just hit, though, is a red-hot topic. Should they have metal detectors? Should they remove all glass and come up with plastic?
Well, what about photo ID? You know, some of the bars at Crown Casino have got, they want you to have a driver's licence or something with a photo ID.
Yep.
They take your photo on the way in.
Yes.
Things like that, so that you can better identify people coming and going.
Yeah, look, obviously prevention's a lot better than the role of somebody turning up with a knife and the disasters that occur. If they can prevent the people going out with knives, going to these premises, getting fueled with alcohol, have a preventive approach to it, anything that flows from that that's positive has got to be of great benefit to the community.
And from my point of view, who's got young teenagers, my real concern is these glasses in the bars and clubs. Why don't they just introduce plastic cups? What's the problem with that, Marty? Why can't they do that?
Look, obviously these topics are very red hot in the community. You've got the Commissioner of Police, you've got all the politicians talking about it. All these preventative measures have got to be discussed and worked out. I would think absolutely plastic cups would be a necessity.
It's about time they just do something as opposed to just discussing it all the time. What do you think?
I'd agree with that. Yeah. I also say, and you've heard me on this show before say it, if somebody is injured in a bar, in a licensed premises, make sure they go and get an advice from a lawyer.
Well, assuming, someone was glassed in a bar, what do you think? Would they be able to sue a bar at a club?
Look, there are cases in the past where people have been king hit in bars. There's a famous case where a barrister described to a jury, there was only 10 seconds. And he then stood in front of a jury and he counted out on the clock the 10 seconds.
I'll do it for you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Am I going too slow?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And what the jury do? They found for the plaintiff.
Correct, because 10 seconds when it's counted out like that is a considerable period of time.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
It is. Look, what we're trying to say is security, obviously metal detectors, obviously plastic cups, take away the problem from the place where the disasters occur.
Do something positive. As a famous Hawthorn coach once said, do.
Yeah, just do it.
Don't think.
That's right.
That's it.
We go on to the topic, the role of a barrister.
The role of a barrister. Martin, the first point is this. There's so many words that are interchanged when you're dealing with solicitors and barristers. There's a solicitor.
Yep.
There's a lawyer.
Yep.
There's a barrister.
Yep.
There's a QC.
Agreed.
There's an attorney.
Yep. You want to know that? You want to know the difference,
Marty? What's an attorney?
Look, we're all mesmerised by television and TV shows. There's the distinction which I put pretty simply. An attorney is an American word, except in Australia we have patent attorneys. When you see the fellows in American TV, you see them appearing as a trial attorney. Now that's a solicitor who gets up and appears at a trial. A solicitor here, we all know what solicitors are. I'm a solicitor, Tony, you're a solicitor, Harry's a solicitor. But we all start off appearing before the Supreme Court of Victoria and we get admitted.
Martin, I was forced to change my title to solicitor, from solicitor to lawyer.
Okay.
What's a lawyer, mate?
A lawyer is just a more common use, a more commonly used expression that describes you as a lawyer. You're doing the same role as a solicitor.
Isn't it an American term?
Yeah, it probably is.
We're Americanised, I think.
One of the things that I was saying just before was when you are admitted as a barrister and solicitor, you take an oath and you appear before the Supreme Court and you are then admitted as an Australian legal practitioner and an officer of the court. What happens with those people, that's solicitors and barristers, you take an oath, and you are to uphold the law, with your first duty being to the law, secondly to the court, thirdly to your client, and fourthly to the public. So you've got these
Can you
overriding
appear in
duties.
any jurisdiction in Australia? Can you appear in Queensland and Sydney and places like that?
You can now because you are an Australian legal practitioner. Now we go back to what a barrister is. A barrister is one of those fellows where you sometimes see them on TV like Rumpold, or alternatively on the news each night. They come out, they've got the wig and gown on, they stand out the front of the Supreme Court, and they talk about their case occasionally.
So does that mean we're Rumpole every now and then? We're in court, mate. We make our own appearances and get up there and argue all different points of law.
You can
What's
do
the
that.
difference?
Well, I can appear, and so can you, as a solicitor in court. But generally, because we've got large numbers of clients to look after, it's much better to brief the expert in the area, which is the barrister. Now, a barrister is he sits and has a barrister's clerk that takes the work on for him, and he takes the work from
So
solicitors.
a lot of it's serviceability. I mean, you've got...
Absolutely.
We're looking after, say, 100, 200 people at a time.
Correct.
Now, you can't be out of your office, 10 days straight
In
without
court.
people getting upset and alarmed and,
Yep.
you know, they've got to be able to talk to you, don't they?
I agree with that. It's a much more practical way of doing things. And remember, these barristers who are on their feet each day are expert advocates. They have their specialised areas of law. It's a bit like the general practitioner you go and see to as a doctor. If you've got a problem with an eye, he'll send you off to an eye specialist. If you've got a problem with your blood pressure, he might send you to a cardiologist. These barristers are specialists in their areas.
Martin, one of the key elements to the barrister is they've got a duty to a number of people.
Yes,
People think the biggest duty is to the client, but the major duty is to the court, isn't it?
correct.
You know.
They can't misrepresent. It doesn't matter whether you're a barrister or a solicitor. You can't misrepresent your client's case. There are some cases, one in Queensland a couple of years ago, where a QC was given some information by his client. He did not properly represent that to the other side, and he was questioned about it, and they thought his behaviour was less than professional.
Well, what we might do after the break is go to the do's and don'ts.
Okay.
Is that one thing we can do?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
As
just
I said
also-
before, the duty of the court, I just make a note here. Chief Justice Peter Underwood from the Tasmanian Supreme Court, he was giving a presentation at dinner one night. He said it again. There was the duty first to the court, second to the client, and third to the general public. So remember, they've got that overriding duty to the court.
So, Martin, what's absolutely critical is that you can't misrepresent anything to a court.
No.
You know, clients might come along and say, to do your job for me, I need you to do this, and this, but you cannot, under any circumstances, say something that's not accurate.
I agree with that, and after the break, we'll give you some examples.
Thank you.